Well, hello there, and welcome to the story of us from cosmic dawn to the depths of being. I'm your host, Jeff Ellison, and before we dive in today, just want to take a second to say thanks to everyone who's been tuning in, listening, sharing our episodes, sending us messages, and taking this journey alongside us. Your presence here is a gift, and I'm very grateful every time you hit the play button. Somehow, I don't know how we did it, we've nearly arrived at the end of season one. Our first leap into the unknown, our first attempt to sit around the fires of human experience and ask, what does it really mean to live this story we're all in? And what a first season it's been. Season one has introduced us to some truly remarkable humans. These are real people with real insights and real stories to share. And through their courage and sharing, we hope we've offered something meaningful to anyone listening who's walking through similar chapters in their life. We're going to take a short holiday pause. Then we're going to be back in January with a whole new slate of stories, conversations, and connections. But today's special because episode 16 brings someone very close to my heart. My firstborn child, my son, Brady Ellison. He's 23, newly engaged to his high school sweetheart, Sophie. Together, they're building a life and a home. He's learning a trade that he really loves. And he's becoming day by day, moment by moment, the kind of man that any father would be proud of. So today, we're going to welcome Brady to the mic. We'll talk about his story, his work, his dreams and ambitions. We're going to talk about the sometimes stormy seas he's been navigating. And we're going to talk about the lessons he's learned along the way in the prologue to what I know is going to be a remarkable story of his life. And I couldn't be prouder to share him with you. So you ready? Let's dig in and take a listen. Brady, my man.
What's up?
What's up? Brady Gentry. I can't believe it took us this long to get you on the podcast.
I know it's been a minute.
It's it's been a fun season. We're almost to the end of kind of our inaugural season one, and I'm glad we made the time.
Yeah, it's been both difficult schedules for sure.
Yeah, no,
Been a busy month.
it's been a lot going on. So it was really funny the other day in preparation for our podcast today. Something came across me that I wanted to read to you, and I know you read it the other day. But for my listeners, it was really kind of interesting how things come into your life. I was looking through some old memory boxes and stuff like that, and didn't realize how much journaling I did.
Yeah.
But I kept an English literature journal from 1992. So this is probably my sophomore year in high school.
10 years before I was born.
10 years before you were born. Yeah. So I guess the assignment was, hey, write a letter to your firstborn child. Well, you're my firstborn child. So I wrote you a letter 10 years before you were born. So I'm going to read it. Is that
Perfect.
cool?
Yeah, that's great.
All right, so it says, I'm writing you this message so you may carry it throughout your life and let it lead you in the right direction always. Remember, people go through life much too fast. The things that happen in your life are meant to happen through the hands of God. I hope your future will be full of happiness and prosperity. Never let things bring you down. If life seems to be turning around for the worst, take some time to think about life. Do all the right things for all the right reasons. But remember, you can't please all the people all the time. So be yourself and live for today, not for tomorrow. No matter what happens in life, you'll always have a shoulder to cry on with me. Because I believe you are the most precious gift to the earth. And if you're a good in heart and good in mind, good things are bound to come your way. Always believe in God and especially in yourself, for if you do anything if you only believe. Please live for the moment. Never put off for tomorrow what can be accomplished today. Because remember, try to tell the people you love them that as much as you can. Because if tomorrow never comes, they may not know how much you love them. Life is much simpler than it seems. And the happier you are, the easier it gets. Live life to its fullest. Love forever, Dad. And then I did put a postscript on here. P.S.
Did you?
Stay away from women. They're
I saw
crazy.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think I had a pretty crazy girlfriend at the time when
I
I was a
wouldn't doubt
sophomore.
that.
She was probably driving me nuts. But okay, first question. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
I want to know, what's your walk-up song? You know, every
Yeah.
athlete has this walk-up song. It's their hype song. It's the thing.
Yeah.
When you get in your truck, you put your aux in. You got one walk-up song that just jacks you.
Well, I mean, if you were to look at me, you wouldn't think this, but I love Rihanna.
Ooh,
Yeah,
Rihanna.
Rihanna gets me going.
Okay, is there a
Honestly.
is there a particular Rihanna song?
Disturbia.
Disturbia. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to check it out, and maybe when I record the intro, I'll use Rihanna Disturbia to hype you up and get you in.
Sounds good.
It's really funny because I tell this story all the time.
Yeah.
When you were a kid, mom used to get, this was a long time ago, we actually got magazine subscriptions,
Hmm.
and she loved the celebrity magazines, the People
Yeah.
magazine. And in the front of People magazine, they always had pictures of celebrity women who wore a similar dress, and it was the title of this was "Who Wore It Best."
Yeah.
And when you were little, you're probably 4 or 5 years old. I'd always open that up and say, "Which one of these wore it best?" And you always picked Beyonce, no matter which, or if Beyonce was in the article or in the magazine, you always picked Beyonce. I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't remember it.
Yeah, you don't remember. Okay, so there's one other thing that I wanted to start us off with before we hear your story. Now, I know your
Yeah,
story. Obviously, you're my firstborn
of
kid.
course.
I only have two of you. So, um, your story is very sacred to me. Um, but I thought about writing an intro, but I thought maybe I really just kind of wanted to tell it to you.
Okay.
Before we get going, I want to tell you, because I don't tell you enough. Um, I think I tell you I love you all the time, and
Yeah,
I do. I love you. But also how proud I am of you.
I appreciate it.
I really am proud of you. And so instead of saving the intro, I thought I'd go ahead and read it off so that everybody could hear, but specifically so we could start off this way.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to say to you, Brady, is that being your father has been one of the greatest educations of my life. You've taught me unconditional love. Now, that's the kind that stretches, it bends, it breaks open, and rebuilds you into a fuller version of who you were meant to be. You've taught me that. Um, I got to say, you've taught me a lot about bravery, not the loud, macho kind, but the steady kind, like the kind where the courage to keep going, to keep trying, to keep becoming something. You've taught me some patience, extraordinary amounts of patience
Oh,
have
yeah,
been
you definitely needed
necessary.
it. I gave you
Yeah,
a huge run for your money.
you have. But the kind of patience you need when you're untangling fishing line at 5 a.m. on a frozen lake, or hearing the rumble of truck parts being swapped out in the driveway for reasons that remain mysterious to me. But you've definitely taught me more about trucks, aftermarket mods,
Yep.
the precise science of selecting just the right fishing lure. Those things that every father truly needs to know. Um, More than I need to know, but you know what? I'm grateful for every lesson that you've taught me. You've taught me the wisdom of saving up for unexpected medical bills.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of crazy accidents, but also the quiet strength it takes to keep choosing life, even when it asks more of you than sometimes seems fair. But maybe the greatest thing that you've taught me is the sheer joy of watching your child become something fully, fiercely, magnificently themselves. So Peyton was on the show first.
Yeah.
You get to go second, which means I've gotten way better at this already. So she was the guinea pig, but with your sister,
Yeah.
we talked about this, and I talked about that with your sister. The becoming was like watching a sunrise in slow motion. And when you become a parent, this may resonate with you, but it was watching a sunrise in slow motion. It was gentle, it was warm, it was kind of inevitable,
Yeah.
right? You know your sister. When she was
Absolutely.
4 years old, you knew what kind of person she was going to turn out to
100%.
be. And
Yeah.
she's slowly, gently becoming the person we all thought she would be. With you, it's been a little bit different. Not any worse, not any better, just different.
Yeah.
And that's been something wild, but also kind of awe inspiring for me. So watching you grow up has been more like watching a majestic storm build over ocean waves. So feeling the shift in barometric pressure
Okay.
that happens on a daily basis, sensing some of the electricity in the air when you walk into the room, marveling at the power, the beauty, the energy. And just when the clouds gather and the world feels really heavy, the light breaks through in those breathtaking rays, reminding me that some of the most unforgettable sunrises don't happen on cloudless days, but on the days when the storms are forming offshore, painting the sky colors you didn't even know existed. That's the gift of being your dad. That's the wonder of watching you become who you're becoming. And it's cool. Today I get to share the mic with you.
Sweet. Yeah. It's been a long time overdue for all those reasons, but it's been a journey for sure.
Well, we don't talk enough about it, and it's going to be fun to do this. Not as a host and guest, but you know, two people that mean a lot to one another, telling the story
Absolutely.
of us, you and me
Absolutely.
together, because I've been there from the very beginning. So, this is called the story of us, from cosmic dawn to the depths of being. Your mom loves the title, but we got to get started. I know this story; I was there from the very
Yeah.
beginning. But Brady, do you mind taking the mic? Tell us your story. Where'd you grow up? What parts of the world shaped the man that you are now?
Yeah. I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky. I I was always a little bit different than the other kids, even in elementary school. I My dad always took me hunting and fishing from a very young age. We'd go out to a farm in Smithfield, Kentucky, and I got in my hunting clothes, and that really just those cold mornings shaped how I am today. They it really changed me down to the core because all the kids that I grew up around were more, I guess, tainted by the city life, and I had experiences that they didn't have before, and I could just go out there and I knew beauty beyond the city. And that really changed who I was growing up and made me more adventurous, kept me off my iPad or my computer as much as the other kids were, and really taught me a lot about like what can I do? Like what interests me? What do I enjoy? Instead of just playing on a screen all day. I decided college wasn't really for me. I went through high school, I had pretty good grades, I was good at school, but I always knew there was something that I was missing with that school didn't offer me with like my hands. And I thought I found it with welding, and it did bring me peace to like when I was welding, it's like almost a rush of peacefulness and calmness comes over you when you're under your hood and you have a weld started. But it, gosh, man, it was hard work, really hard, and it beat up my body bad. And then I finally found that being a mechanic was what I think is for me. And I really enjoy it. I love working on everything. But I think those outcomes of my life came from the very beginning, from being outside, wanting to explore, try new things, build things, mess up along the way, but who doesn't?
Well, and I've been there for the whole journey, and it's really interesting what you say about being in the outdoors. Sometimes for some people, peace of mind comes pretty easy.
Yeah.
They can be present, their mind can rest a little bit. And I think it's a little harder for you to find those moments of peace. And it sounds like that from an early kid. I mean, I remember taking you squirrel hunting out in Bardstown on
Yeah.
public property,
Yeah.
and we trounced around the woods like we were, hunter gatherers
Yeah.
and big macho men. And I don't think we shot any
We
squirrels,
did not,
but
but
we
we
did.
got some ticks bad.
Yeah, we found a tick bomb,
Yeah.
and we got home, and I remember mom made us sit on the back porch, stripped down buck naked,
Mhm.
and like monkeys pick little tiny
Yeah.
like tiny pinpoint ticks off of each other for hours.
It took a long time. Those suckers got everywhere.
Yeah, they did.
It was bad.
It itched, it was gross, and I think your mom felt like there were little bugs crawling on her
Oh, for days, months.
for months.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was really funny too, introducing you to the outdoors and all the things that we used to do,
Mhm.
and still try to find the time to do becomes harder and harder and harder.
Yeah.
Your mom never grew up that way, and so it was just always kind of funny to watch how big her eyes would get when we'd come home with a trash bag full of deer cuts.
Yeah. She did not like that whatsoever.
She really liked the time you went dove hunting and decided that you didn't have the time to clean the doves, so you just put the full doves
Oh,
in the
yeah.
freezer. And she
That's
opened up the
perfect.
freezer, and there were a bunch of
Yeah.
frozen solid,
I don't
mortified doves
yeah.
sitting in the freezer. Yeah, we've
Mm.
put her through a lot. Let's linger here for a second, okay? Because I want to know what your childhood was like from your perspective, not mine, not your mom's.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's stories from your childhood or your teenage years that you hope I don't bring up. And those are definitely the ones I want to bring
That's
up for
perfect.
sure, but whatever. But no, I think for me, your childhood started off when you were born. I remember the day very vividly. I can't remember what I had for lunch yesterday, but I remember the day you were born. I mean, this was important to us. Your mom and I were 25, 26 years
Yeah.
old, I think, at the time, not too much older than you are. I still don't know anything. I definitely didn't know anything then. That's for sure. And here was this child that came into the world, and I had such big dreams and ambitions for you. And I remember everything was fine at the hospital, and then it got real, really fast because they walked us down to the car, and we had this old Hyundai Santa Fe
Yeah.
at the time, and they wanted to make sure we knew how to put the car seat in and how to put you in the car seat, and then they close the door and they leave. And it's like, that's what you taught me how to be a dad?
Yeah, they
Was
just
just to
leave
make
you.
sure I knew how to put you in the car seat?
Those car seats are no joke either. They're hard to put in.
Okay, and this was what, 23 years ago?
Yeah.
They were a little harder then than they are now,
Were they?
probably. But, that's not the scariest part of being a parent, and
Oh
that's all they
god, no.
taught us at
Yeah.
the at the hospital was just to make sure you were buckled up and safe. But then the ride home, I swear I think I drove 10 miles an hour from the hospital all the way home. I was scared as hell I was gonna break you. And one thing you're gonna learn about being a dad is that fright doesn't really go away. I'm still scared as hell that I'm gonna break you, or I already have broken you.
Yeah.
But you're pretty resilient. Let's talk about some of these other stories. I don't
Yeah.
know if any of them come to your mind, but some of the things that I thought of before the podcast. Man, I love that fishing trip we took to Canada. I think you
That was a
were
great one.
was after your yeah,
8th
after
grade.
middle school.
8th grade.
Yeah,
Going into high
we
school.
drove up in the
It
Subaru
was the Subaru,
Outback
yeah.
and drove all the way to Canada.
Yeah. It was
Yeah,
really fun. I remember we listened to, like, Sturgill all the way. That was the first time I had listened to Sturgill ever, and I loved it.
that might have been a pivot point for you because I know you got pretty deep into country
Oh,
music and
yeah.
still are.
Yeah. Sturgill is and was great. I still like his stuff today. He went for a little bit of a 180 there.
What do you remember about that fishing trip? Because it was pretty cool. We crossed the international waters, and then we went to the canoe only portion of
Oh, yeah.
Quantico National Park, and I think they dropped us off there. Talk about scary. It was kind of like dropping you off in the car seat and having to drive home. Those guys from Zupp's Fishing
Oh,
Resort
yeah. They
took us out with our canoe and dropped us off in the middle of the national park and said, "Hey, we'll be back in 5 days." And we didn't see another person,
yeah.
another boat for 5 days.
Well, and they put us in, like, the part that nobody had gone in, like, years. They put us in that one lake with the big rock, but before we even got there, you had dropped your phone in customs down in the bottom of the water,
Yeah.
and I fished it out, and then we kept trying to dry it, and we finally got it dry, but that was the only phone we had, right?
Oh
Except for,
yeah.
like, the emergency
That
phone?
that that was like the immaculate phone because that thing stayed for probably 5 minutes at the bottom of like 12
Yeah.
feet of crystal clear Canadian water. You fished it out for me with a long fishing net.
Mhm.
And I think I had that phone for like another year and a half. I
Yeah,
don't
it
know
was
how that thing
I don't either.
survived.
It
It
did great
was,
too, it took great pictures on the trip. I mean, you fell in one time, I got out of the canoe really quick, and you
oh, I remember.
you fell straight in the water.
Yeah.
You were not very happy, and it was cold. It was cold and rainy.
Oh
What was that
man.
place called? Big Rock?
We called it Big Rock and we
Yeah.
carved our initials on it because we had to hunker down there. There was a big storm coming
Yeah.
and it was pouring down rain. It was cold. And we lived on Big Rock until the skies cleared.
Yeah.
And then we started hacking our way through these old portages that
Mhm.
nobody had ever been on. And here's me, crazy dad and his, how old are you?
Maybe
13,
13, 12, 13.
13-year
Yeah.
old kid. And we're hacking our way through these portages and carrying our canoe into these tiny little, connection of lakes that no one had been
Yeah.
in years. And man, every time we cast, we caught a fish. And they
Oh,
weren't big,
absolutely.
but we could have. I mean,
Yeah.
the water was bubbling with fish. It was crazy.
I remember that guy said, I think he was our guide at base camp, and he had said if you opened a can of worms on that one lake, the water would boil,
That's
and it
exactly what
damn
he
near
said.
did.
I know.
It
And
damn
I
near
I
did.
remember us prepping for that trip, and he told you that he was marking it on the little paper map that he
Yeah.
gave us at the time, and your eyes just bugged up. You're like, "Oh, I want to fish that lake.
Oh yeah.
We're going to fish it." So we did, and we had a great time. It was really fun to get out, get away. I remember some of those things really vividly. We won't talk about some of the nasty things you did to me, like pouring a bottle of salt down my butt crack, but we had fun.
We
It was a
did have
good
a
time.
lot of fun.
There's so many fun things when you really think back and look at it, and I think that that's one thing I try to do is that when my life gets really hard is remember that it's not always that way. We had a lot of fun. Um, I wrote this down too. Maybe I was a bad parent, but I think you were probably 12 years old when you got introduced to like 90s gangster rap.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
sure was.
I took you to a Snoop Dogg concert when you were
Yeah.
14. Yeah,
I
that was
remember
good
that.
parenting.
That's about the
Really
first
good
time I
parenting.
smelled the marijuana.
Oh yeah, there was plenty of the Mary Jane.
Yeah, there
Um,
sure was.
got you the big Snoop Dogg hat. But since that time, I mean, I'm telling you, when you and Sophie get married, we are going to play the Humpty Dance
That's
because
fine.
I
We've
think you
been
know
listening to it
every
lately
word.
anyway.
You know every word to Humpty Dance.
Absolutely.
What are some of the other things about growing up that you think kind of shaped you? I think you've always been a kind of a madman.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Anything that I was interested in, I believed I had to be the best at. It was just my personality. I'd get so infatuated with it and just learn absolutely everything about it. I think that helped me in some ways, and it definitely hurt me in some ways too. But especially with like learning about engines and stuff, that was great because it's helped me out now. But I've always loved to do stuff with my hands. Since I was a little kid, I loved playing with Legos. Remember all the Legos you had to buy me?
Oh yeah, there were Legos everywhere.
Oh yeah, stepping on
Uh,
one of those is the worst
if,
thing ever.
you're telling me, brother.
Yeah,
I stepped on a lot of
I
freaking
bet you did.
Legos, and I picked up a lot of those little Nerf
Yeah,
bullets.
yeah,
They were everywhere until the infatuation turned to airsoft,
yeah.
and then there were these little tiny
BBs
BBs
everywhere.
literally everywhere. I would find them in my underpants. I would find them in my socks. I would find them out in the yard. I mean, it's really funny when you look back at people and you know them when they were a child.
Yeah,
I kind of think you're born the way you're going to be born. People talk about are people born the way they turn out, or does society turn them that way? And
yeah.
you know, I mean, you were hurling yourself out of your crib when you were 6 months old.
I don't think much has changed.
No, there's not a lot changed there. You were tough.
Yeah,
You were a tough baby. I remember rocking you in the middle of the night crying, like, just let this kid go to sleep. And then I'd put you in the crib and we'd come back downstairs and be the middle of the night and I'd be drinking a glass of water and hoping to get back to bed a little bit. And then I'd hear this. You'd be crawling across the room. We actually had to turn the knob to your bedroom around so it locked from the outside and not the inside. And we literally, man, I don't know if this is a good parenting move or not, but we locked you in your room and you would take the little books, the little nursery rhyme books that we would read you off the bookshelf and you would hurl them at the door. I mean, you were 6 months old.
yeah. I
You
mean,
you crawl over there, rip them all off the thing, and just the door was locked, so you just keep throwing them. And I remember knowing it was the right thing to do, knowing I only had to like fight you for 3 days
yeah,
and 3 nights to do it, but sleeping outside your door because I couldn't pull myself away to go to bed.
yeah.
I wanted
I
to
was
be there
persistent.
with you, and I felt bad. Oh, you almost broke me, brother.
I was persistent.
We already talked about it, but you were the only kid in Anchorage Public School that wore full camo
Yeah,
to
to school
school
every day
every day,
almost. Yeah.
every day. Yeah. Um, your childhood was homemade ninja stars and
Oh, the AC unit, the compressor outside.
oh yeah, we don't even need to go there on this podcast, but the amount of stuff, it was you're right. You always were tinkering, working something with your hands,
Yeah,
putting something together, and you did get all in on a lot of different things. I remember, taking uh paper towels on twigs and attaching them with duct tape and lighting them on fire like Indiana Jones torches,
yeah, and then
running
I burnt
around the
myself.
backyard. Hey, you burnt yourself a couple of times. I mean, that's why I said you taught me a lot about how to save up for unexpected medical bills.
Absolutely, there was a lot of them.
I mean,
I could
plastic
not
surgery
stay
for
away.
sticking lures in your face,
Yep,
splitting your head open on basketball goals,
yep,
um,
that was a
sc-
bad one.
scooter wrecks, knee surgeries,
Yep,
4 of them, I think, when we talked
transplant.
about your knee transplant.
Yeah,
Yeah. And that was a big part is that I think you forget before your injuries and I think you're harder on yourself than you should be, especially as a child. And I think even now, if you were interested in it, you were just such a remarkable athlete. And it was because you wanted to be the best.
yeah.
Even 7-year-old Brady, when we signed you up for a swim team, was like, I'm going to dominate. Like cut my hair in a mohawk, paint my chest.
That was the best haircut I ever had.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it
It's a
was.
great one.
Paint my chest, give me eye black, call me the catfish, and I'm gonna go out and dominate 7-year-old swim team. And you did. You did. Like you were the backstroke champion of the city. Um, but then it, turned into baseball.
Yeah.
And baseball was something that you started playing when you were like 7, 8 years old. You remember
Mhm.
those times?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was always a catcher. I remember we played at Fort Knox one time, and it was so hot. They had to I think the umpires, called a timeout in the game. Like, everybody had to go get water and sit for, 30, 45 minutes, and I swear I was having a heat stroke because I was in all that catcher gear. But, I mean, baseball and sports did teach me a lot too. It taught me how to be, persistent and never give up and always work harder because there's always gonna be somebody actually working harder than you. And if you take breaks, take days off, you're not gonna catch up.
Yeah, and you were all in, and you were a catcher. I think part of that was me because I was a catcher, and so I
Yeah,
think as hard as parents try not to live vicariously through their kids, you're like, let's put them behind the plate, man.
absolutely.
And it kind of was your personality, right? I mean, you were the toughest kid on the team, always were. I remember that same year we played at Fort Knox. We also played out in Shelbyville, one tournament, and I remember vividly this kid running around third and heading for home, and you're like, "Oh no, there's going to be a collision, and I'm going
Yeah.
to win this collision." And I think you caught that ball and stuck that ball right in that kid's face, and it just kind of stood over him. And I was like, "Oh,
Yeah. Hey down there.
Okay. All right. There you go." But there were some happy times too. There were some crazy times, it didn't always go well, and I probably lost my temper more than I should have. And it was probably hard riding home in the car with the coach for 5 years.
It was hard and it was damn near a conflict of interest.
Oh, tell me more.
um, I mean, I'd hear all the vaccine stuff,
Yeah,
but I'd have to still play my butt off. And it was hard to do both, kind of play both roles,
I bet.
come home with the coach and play your butt off in the game. But I mean, there were some great times, and it was great that my dad was the coach, obviously, because I remember you were standing coaching third base, and I hit the walk off home run to win nationals.
Mm.
That I still watch that video sometimes. It's one of my favorite. It might be my favorite video of all time.
Might be one of mine too. Like I've got a favorite picture of all time that I've used already on our blog of us playing in an international tournament in
Yeah,
Disney World when you were
yeah,
a little kid and you were playing for the Louisville Bats, and I was coaching third at the time too. Coach Osteen
yeah,
he wouldn't give up first base coaching, and I was fine at third.
yeah.
It was fine. He was the real baseball coach. I was just the
The hype man.
hype man. I was the hype man.
You were a good hype man.
Well, nothing got me hyped up more than seeing you be successful. And man, you cranked one over the left field wall, and I got a picture of you high fiving me running
I
around
love
third
that picture
base, and
too.
it's really
It's a
one of my
great one.
favorite pictures. And it's one of my favorite pictures because you know that sometimes you go through stages where you don't smile as much as you should.
Absolutely.
And man, the smile on both of our faces, whoever captured that moment in time, it was pretty special. And then, yeah, definitely that video. Okay, I'm gonna find that video
Okay.
and I'm gonna play it on. I'm gonna put it up on the story of
Yeah, that's
us,
great.
because yeah, this was a long, hot tournament in Myrtle Beach for the national championships of I
Yeah.
think 12-year-olds,
Yeah,
maybe.
something.
I don't know. It was out of bounds. It was crazy, but we've been in Myrtle Beach the whole week, and we were on these turf fields, and I was coaching third, and we took this team from Wesley Chapel, Florida, to extra innings, and it was a pitcher's duel, and they had this big old boy, and we had our big Bryce Sailor,
Yeah.
and they were dueling it out, and they both pitched all 6 innings, which was kind of crazy for 12-year-olds at that time. And it got to extra innings, and we got up, and some kid threw you a fastball way low in the plate, and it looked like you had a 9 iron,
Yeah.
and you cranked that thing over the center field wall, and I jumped. There's video.
Oh, you must have
You're
jumped 4
running
feet in
around.
the
You're
air.
running around the bases, and I think I jumped 4 feet in the air, and
Absolutely.
I
I wouldn't doubt it.
ran around the like an idiot. I
No,
lost
hey.
my mind. It was one of the most joyful things that's ever happened to me, and I think that's says a lot about being a parent. It's like you feel whatever your kid feels. When they're down in the dumps, you're down in the dumps. Your mom rides the roller coaster way more than I do. I try to be the person that lives in the middle,
Yeah.
kind of that source of balance a little bit. But especially as a younger parent, finding my way and figuring it out. Man, I rode the roller coaster, and those are some of the high moments, right?
Absolutely.
Low moments too, but man, you had so many high moments. You were great at baseball. You were a great swimmer. You were really great at just about everything that you put your mind to. And then some injuries came along the way and stuff. And then, tell us a little bit about, not so much right now because I think you're busy, but man, you really fell in love with bass fishing.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us more about that.
And so I always loved fishing. When we lived in Anchorage, we had a pond across the street, and I'd take my dad's bait caster, and I'd go and try different lures out in the neighbor's pond, and that continued all throughout middle school and freshman year of high school, and then I decided to join the bass fishing team, and it got my mind going. I would be looking up on Navionics, which is a like a charting map for all the lakes in the US and Canada and pretty much North America. And I go in and I look for spots where bass would hide in the summer months, the winter months, and the fall season, and even the spring. And learning all those patterns was really fun to me. Learning what they do when this happened, when it rained, when it snowed, when it was cold, when it was hot, when it was cloudy, what to throw in, where to throw it, how to reel it, how deep to throw it. It's crazy what goes into that. And the guys who do it professionally are just they're madmen. You have to keep up with all the new shebang and the new electronics, not to mention the price of the boats now. Oh my goodness, they're
You're
like a
telling
hundred
me.
grand.
You're telling me.
Yeah,
I know, because it was, that's the other thing is that you got into things deep, and still do, and that's good. That's
yeah,
not a bad thing. Like you explore, you get deep, you get all in, and then you move on. And honestly, I'm kind of like that too. Mom will
yeah,
tell you. It's like, I don't know. One day I'm trying to learn Hindi
yeah. I
on
remember that.
Duolingo, and the next day I'm picking up a guitar or starting a
Yeah,
podcast, right? I
that was a
mean,
one out of
you
left
come
field
from
there.
it, you come from it very genuinely. But the bass fishing thing was a big thing for you. And again, I think it was one of these opportunities where you get out on the lake, you get your all your gear there, and it's quiet and you can focus, and the
Yeah,
noise of the world kind of goes away for you.
I think that's a big thing with me too. Like, life is so much easier for me when all the noise goes away. Like when it's welding, the hood goes down, nobody talks to you, the noise goes away. When you're fishing, you're out in the middle of nowhere. You don't usually see another boat until you're running across the lake. You got all your gear on, whether it's raining, that's even peaceful too. And or even when you're hunting, you're waking up really early in the morning, you get that burst of energy that you would never get if you're going to work. And you just feel like you're ready to go, you're itching to go. Walking to that stand is it's one of the best times, but also one of the most anxious times. You're trying not to jump anything or scare anything off. And I have done that a couple times where we walk into the stand and I'll scoot $2 off and two does will follow, or I'll scoot two does off and two bucks will come running after them, following their trail. It's always a heartbreaker.
We've all done it. We've all been there. Um, yeah, it's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. So, today actually is a anniversary for you.
Yes, sir.
Something very special, but deeply personal that we don't need to talk about. But it was a moment in your life. Today's kind of the 1 year anniversary that seemed like a pivot point or like a turning point on your journey as you grow up. What are some of those pivotal moments, turning points, kind of forks in the road that you had in your life that carried you to where you are today?
Um, the biggest one that happened about in the middle of when everything was happening was Sophie. Um, she almost it was a very dark time for me, and she gave me a sense of like hope. Um, it was amazing because we met at Tinseltown, and she was late because her mom made her change her shirt because there was no way she was going out in that. Knowing Cheryl now, I'd be like, "There's absolutely." She definitely told her that, but I'm glad I waited around. I think I had my mom back on like on the phone, like, "Hey, come get me," because it had been like 15, 20 minutes, and the movie had dang near started. I was like, "Oh, she stood me up." But no, she's the best thing that's ever happened to me. She is my support every day. She just she's shown me unconditional love, and that's what I needed in that time.
Yeah. Let's just jump into the story of Brady and Sophie because
Yeah,
that's exciting. For those that don't know, you met Sophie when you were
15.
15 years
Yes,
old. So going on 7 years now for a 15-year-old, 7 years seems like an eternity. It probably feels like your
it
entire
does.
life you've known Sophie and Sophie's been around, and your mom and I are just huge Sophie fans. We
Absolutely.
see what she does for you
Yeah.
and how much better you guys are together, and I think that ultimately, when people ask about mom and I's marriage and relationship, it what I tell them is we're better together. 1 + 1 = 3,
Oh,
right? We
absolutely.
complement each other really better. But you're engaged now,
Yeah, couldn't be happier.
gonna get married.
Yes, sir. It couldn't have been a better couple months of my life. I mean, I found out that I was getting the job at Boyd, and I've absolutely loved it. I've found myself, and I'm engaged now, and it just couldn't have been a better couple months.
Yeah, got the job that you've been looking for in diesel mechanics.
Yes.
Can check that one off the
Yeah,
box.
sure
Got a new
can.
house in
Yes.
LaGrange,
Yes.
and scrounged together a few bucks for a diamond ring,
Yep.
right? Now we're really excited for you and proud, and it's been exciting to see that it just takes a couple of things to go good for for you to head down the happy trail.
It definitely does. It's for sure a domino effect. You start getting some good things going your way, and then you got to take advantage of it, of course, and capitalize on the moment. And then it's all pretty much almost falling down for me, falling my way, and I couldn't be happier.
Well, and you're in Sophie's relationship is really special and unique because a lot of people meet someone they're going to spend their life with a little later in life.
Absolutely.
And so between you and Sophie over 7 years, 15 to 22 is a pretty monumental time of change in a person's
Oh
life.
yeah,
You go through a lot, right? I mean, I think you were super skinny with a nice tight haircut
yeah,
and Saint X
yeah.
wardrobe when you met her, and
Almost
then
nobody believes that that was actually me.
yeah, it was you. It
Yeah,
was you. Those things have changed. The way you dress, the way you look,
yeah, absolutely,
some of the things that you are into or talk about. But what hasn't changed is the commitment that you guys have for one another, and
for
that's really
sure.
something fun that you should be celebrating because there aren't too many people that are going to be able to look up and your mom and I have been married for 25 years
Yeah,
and I've changed a lot. She's changed a lot during that time. But man, if I had met her at 15, first off, I don't think she would have stuck with me.
probably not.
Just to be honest with you, so Sophie's a saint,
She
and I know
is.
what you put her through, man.
She is a
Better
saint.
keep on. You better hold on to that one. That's for
Absolutely.
sure. So let's talk about that though. So, what have you learned about love through those harder seasons or ups and downs in your life?
We've been through it all. It feels like in 7 years, I got really lucky finding Sophie at such a young age. In our generation of young adults to adults, you don't usually find that early or even at all. The culture today is just so much different. But Sophie, at a very young age, she taught me what it was like to be committed and to love unconditionally. Like you can love somebody, you can like somebody, and it's almost a different level that you find yourself in when you're truly almost infatuated with somebody. When you want to do no wrong just so you don't disappoint them. It's not I don't want to do wrong just so I don't make you mad. It's I don't want to do wrong because I want you to be happy. Because I don't want you to have a inconvenience. Like
Yeah.
I want to just do everything right. And it's very hard. It's impossible. But you can just put in your best effort.
Well, and you won't do everything right, that's for sure. And I want to give you a little bit of
Yeah,
newly engaged advice.
go for it.
And I think that this just kind of came to me as we talk about how you and Sophie have stayed together and made this longer term real commitment to one another since you were kids. I
Yeah.
mean, you're not kids anymore, um, for the most part.
Yeah.
You know,
For the most part, for
yeah.
sure.
I think guys don't fully mature till like they're 30, but Sophie's probably pretty close to fully mature by now.
Absolutely.
But
I'd definitely say
here's
so.
my advice.
Yeah.
Um, just like that period of 7 years, you've changed both tremendously,
Yeah.
figuring things out. You're changing as people. You're never going to stop changing.
Correct.
Like people think that once I get to a certain age, I am who I am. Well, I think that if you're following along in life's journey and life's path, a natural part of life is just continuing to morph and change into something fresh and new.
Absolutely.
And it's important for a marriage for you to be very respectful of each other as you go through those changes
Yeah.
and recognize that a change is happening and sitting back and saying, okay, wait, what this isn't the Sophie I remember. And you're like, no, this is the
Yeah.
new improved Sophie. Or Brady, this is not the Brady that I remember when we were 18 years old. And you're like, yeah, I was 18 years old now. This is a
Yeah.
fresh new Brady,
Yeah. I'm
right?
23. Yeah.
Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse. But if it's worse, you get through that period and you get better. And sometimes if it's better, it's magical. So
Absolutely.
you guys have, it sounds like after talking to you guys, you have what I would call a shared compass.
Okay.
Like,
Can you explain what that means?
yeah, sure. You have somewhere that you're pointed to.
Okay. Yeah.
You and Sophie have
Yeah.
dreams together. Um, where's that compass point to? Like, what do your shared visions look like?
Well, I mean, we're very, very happy with where we're at right now. Um, I'd say in 5 to 10 years, we would love to be a little bit farther out of the city. LaGrange is definitely a great first step for that. Like, it's a lot quieter out there, but LaGrange is growing, and I think we'd like to be somewhere a little bit farther down south or a little bit farther east. So, still in Kentucky, maybe Tennessee, but we want to be on a little bit of land, maybe 10 acres, and build a barn though. I think that's our just really big goal right now, and to just keep growing like with each other and being patient with each other and accepting new changes, new ideas. But I mean, if we keep making the progress that we've made individually and together in the last 5 years, I expect really good things.
Yeah,
It's going to be great.
I expect good things too, and it's not going to be easy. There are going to be bumps in the road. It feels like your shared journey includes things like country roads, mountains, lands to roam in. I've heard you guys talk about. You just talked about Tennessee. I've heard you talk about Tennessee, and your sisters had a good experience in Eastern
Absolutely.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
Not probably the experience that you're
No,
looking for in
not the
Eastern
same one,
Tennessee,
but close.
but you said Montana. You said
Yeah.
Tennessee. What drives you and Sophie? What draws you to the idea of living in the country?
Well, Sophie grew up in almost I'd call it Bedford area, but Trimble County, Kentucky. And I obviously grew up in Louisville. And I always almost envied the life of like that she kind of grew up in, like the area. I never felt at home like almost at peace in Louisville. Like, I didn't feel like I fit in per se, but more like I wanted the like I wanted the option to be able to go and hunt in the backyard, which I did at Anchorage. That was a great one.
Okay, not the
But
most appropriate place to hunt in the backyard, but you did
no,
it.
I
You
did
did
do
it.
that. But I feel like it's just peaceful for me to be out there in the country. And I feel like that's where all the stuff is that I love: hunting, fishing, building stuff, working on stuff, working on a farm, doesn't matter. I feel like you get all those kind of things that I really, really, truly enjoy out there. And it's just away from everybody. Like, if it was just me and Sophie, I'd be fine.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
sure.
Me, Sophie, and Goose.
Goose. Okay, that's
Goose,
that's your
yeah.
lab.
That
All
is my
right.
lab, yes.
You're a
He's a little
little
special.
he's a he is a little special, but that's okay. You guys love your little black lab goose. That's good. I hear you. It all makes sense. You wanting to live out in the country because you said something that really struck me not too long ago
Yeah,
when you said when you go out and you're sitting in a deer stand or you're out on a lake in the early morning and the water's glassy and you make that first cast
mhm,
or you flip the hood on your welding helmet
yeah,
down, the noise of the world goes
it
away.
truly does.
And I think that that's one thing for you to remember
Absolutely.
about yourself, but also would be really gentle on yourself because I think there's people that struggle with this more than they either uh, appreciate, understand, or are willing to accept. Our life right now is really hard for humans.
Oh, yeah. It
I'm,
really is.
I mean, you are bombarded with noise, information.
Yeah,
Um, I read a statistic the other day that said that teenagers these days, I know you're not a teenager, I'm not trying to call you a teenager, but you did live through a very
yeah.
difficult time. I mean, you were 6 or 7 years old when the first social media started, like
Isn't that crazy?
Facebook. And you were right there in middle school when Snapchat came out
Oh,
and
yeah,
Instagram, and then you had TikTok, and then you've had all of these things. You've
yeah.
lived your life in a digital, loud, noisy world
And
that's
in my
just
opinion,
bombarding you with information.
it's horrible.
It is horrible.
I think it's horrible for people. It sets false expectations for your life. It almost convinces you or tries to manipulate you in some ways to be the person that society expects you to be instead of like who you actually want to be. It sets like it's a lot of people use the term today brain rot, but I feel like that truly is. That term brain rot is brain rot because it's from social media. I feel like life would be so much simpler. And I fall victim to that too. I have Snapchat, I have Facebook, I use YouTube. YouTube isn't as bad.
Man, you're a YouTuber.
Oh yeah.
I'll go downstairs and you're working on an ATV or something, and
Yeah.
I know I push the start button on my car, or now I drive a 2014 Jeep Wrangler and I actually
Yeah.
have a key, so I don't even
Yeah.
have to push the start button anymore. But you're down there changing the oil, just switching out carburetors, fixing gear shifts, the whole thing. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know very little about it, but I'm like, where'd you learn that? You're like, YouTube. I just
Yeah,
sat
I
in my
mean,
room and figured it out. There is
YouTube
some
can also be
positives.
great, yes.
There are some big positives.
A lot of people call themselves like if they're just in the industry, they're a DIYer, they call themselves like a YouTube mechanic. And that can take you a long ways.
Yeah.
Being like you can learn a lot of great stuff on YouTube, like if you really like look for the right things. If you're just scrolling YouTube shorts and you're gaining little bits of information, it stimulates your brain for long enough to go to the next one. But if you're actually interested in something and you take the time and you watch the whole video on something you're super interested in, you might learn a little. And I feel like I found myself doing that with a lot of automotive stuff.
Yeah. And it's going to be hard. It had to be hard. And I think your mom and I could have done better to shield you from some of the social media and the things like that because it's a really difficult way for a kid to grow up. I'm glad I didn't grow up with it. I saw a statistic the other day that said that teenagers these days, what I was getting ready to say earlier, it's not uncommon for them to get 200 or more notifications on their phone, ping, 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 all day long.
Oh yeah,
It's
I
like, how do you
guarantee it.
focus? How do you have any attention?
You don't.
How are you able to think at
Yeah.
all? And I think I would say you don't have to move out to the country to find peace in your mind. You're in control. You can
Absolutely.
turn off the notifications. You
Yeah.
can I just did a blog post on this, but one of the tips that I gave to everybody was I feel so overwhelmed with technology.
Yeah.
And if you look at it from my perspective, my life was easier, but no generation in human history has had to adopt more technology than my generation. I was born in
Yeah.
1975 when Bill Gates started Microsoft, but he was trying to write software for an Altar 8800 computer, which let me tell you, not the most sophisticated computer. But I have done just about everything. I've listened to vinyl records,
That's crazy.
cassette tapes,
That's really crazy.
compact discs. I've had a iPod.
Yeah.
I've
I
stripped
remember
music
your
off
iPods, yeah.
LimeWire and Napster. It's crazy. I've had to live through so much stuff, but your generation, one thing I would tell you is you think about engaging with technology and being able to have full control over it, meaning means not grazing on it all day long. So thinking about your input of data as far as like how you eat meals.
Yeah.
You don't take little snacks all day. You don't eat all day long.
No.
You get bloated and gassy and nasty when you do that. But you do sit down and have a meal 3 times a day, and you ingest something. And it's kind of like, well, making a pact with yourself that, hey, look, I'm going to start my day in a positive way. I'm not going to get up, look at my phone, or look at my phone while I'm peeing.
Yeah.
Before I even pee, before I even get an energy drink, in your case, coffee in my
Yeah.
case, I've already the swell of information's already poured over me.
Yeah. It's not a great way to start your day, especially
Notifications,
if it's something
emails,
bad.
pings, and it's almost always something
Yeah,
bad
you're
because
right.
the algorithms know that bad news and lies and fabrications, misinformation, disinformation gets shared 70% more than
Absolutely.
anything else. Plus, as humans, we're not really evolved to be able to try to absorb all the suffering in the world. So when I was growing up and you were in a newspaper, you might read some information about what happened down the street, or if there
Yeah.
was something big that happened internationally, you might hear about it, a hurricane or a
Yeah.
tsunami or something like that that happened. But man, you get on here and you hear the troubles of the world just getting like right out there in your face every single day.
Yeah. It's hard to turn it off for social media, but then turn it back on for real life. Like, I feel like a lot of the time, people who are on social media a ton, they either find themselves like caring a bunch about the little tiny things that they see on social media that don't have anything to do with them, or they don't care. And I feel like the people who don't care on social media don't really care in real life.
Mm, interesting.
I mean, I think it's hard to transition from the social media world of thinking to like your in quote unquote IRL way of
IRL, what's
thinking
that mean?
in real life.
Oh, that's yeah. Sorry, I'm old. IRL, in real life. Okay, got it. Hey, you want to switch topics?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. One of the things I wanted to talk about, your path hasn't been super traditional. You mentioned it earlier. You made the decision on your own that college wasn't for you.
Yeah.
Your mom and I supported the heck out of that. Thought it was actually really cool. Very
Yeah.
proud of you. Instead, you got welding certificates. You've been to diesel mechanic training, real hands-on mastery. When did you first feel like, yeah, that's the career path for me?
I remember the first truck that you guys got me, the Silverado. I used to do all the maintenance on that almost myself. And then I remember a couple things would break and I'd just fix them. I remember I was at the farm one day, the farm in Smithfield, and I had just got a lift kit for it. And I remember me and Eli Hinton were trying to put on the front and the rear at the same time, which is a big no-no that I know now. But um, we had jacked up the front and jacked up the rear. Parking brake was on, jack stands were under the axles, everything. And I was tugging on a shock, and the truck fell, and
Oh,
the jack stand caught on the spare tire. Probably saved my life. pretty close.
So this chuck this one up to the stories that you have to wait till you're 22 or 23 or 24 years old to tell your parents or you're gonna freak them out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
So I dropped the truck and the jack failed and the jack stand like kind of tipped over like 45 degrees and caught itself on the spare tire, and Eli like yanked me out by my hands from under the bed. It was pretty crazy. But that kind of encouraged me to like learn more so I don't mess up. And mechanics are so expensive. It's a great skill to have anyway, and I just fell in love with it. I
I
just
started
fell
off
in.
with trucks, and you've
Yeah,
had a lot of them.
correct.
So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how how questionable were your truck upgrades between the ages of 16 and 22? And be honest.
Yeah, the truck purchases were very, very questionable. Maybe 9 out of 10.
Okay, how many of those?
I think there were seven.
S-
Seven.
7 trucks.
Correct.
Okay. All right. 7 trucks, lots of modifications.
Correct. Yes. Lots
But
of
on a scale
money.
of 1 to 10, maybe your truck purchases themselves were
A
9 out
nine,
of
nine and
10
a half. Yeah,
questionable.
for sure.
Okay. But okay, so how about some of the early modifications?
I mean, I think they were good.
Okay.
I
All
think I
right.
kind of dug the lift and the 35s on the Silverado. I think it looked great. But I think it kind of went downhill for a while, and then I love this truck that I have now. I
That's a
love
good
it.
one.
I think
What are
it's a
you
great
driving
truck.
now?
2022 Ram 2500.
Okay. And what all have you done to the truck in less than
Uh,
10
in
seconds?
less
You
than
just
10 seconds.
yeah, just rattle off the big ones maybe.
Deleted and tuned. Wheels and tires, level, airbag suspension, full sound system subs,
It's
paint to
impressive.
match bumpers and
I
mirrors.
I'm telling you, it must have been YouTube because it wasn't for me, my man. I didn't teach you how to do any of
Yeah, me
that.
and my
I'm
buddy, we dropped that axle in the front driveway of
yeah.
my whole truck. Disconnect the whole thing to put the springs back in it and the pucks to lift it.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm glad that it's been a little nice you guys having your own home and moving out.
Absolutely.
My driveway didn't feel like a O'Reilly Auto Parts
Yeah.
parking lot
I might
anymore.
just lower the truck and put it on some little wheels so I can fit it in the garage
Okay,
and work on it.
I'm going to make a note of that. We're going to ask Sophie what she thinks about that. Um, you take a lot of pride in being a tradesman.
Absolutely.
You should. Um, what does it mean to you to take pride in a trade, especially in a world that pushes the college route as kind of the default for all these
Yeah.
kids?
I think it shows initiative to be your own person, to not just do something because society tells you to. I feel like it's following what you really love to do instead of just being like, "Oh, I'll do this because everybody else is doing that." And I'm so glad I did because I absolutely love it. It's really hard work, but it feels accomplishing. You come home and you feel like you really did something that day. You feel like you learned something new. I mean, you learn something new every day regardless, but turning wrenches or welding, you definitely learn a new skill at least every day.
One thing I know about you is you're a really good friend to other people,
Yeah.
and you befriended some kids a little bit younger than you
Mhm.
that you really took taken on your wing. For those kids that want to go that I don't even know why we call it non-traditional route. That's
It
just
is
kind of
nowadays.
bullshit,
It is now.
really. It seems to be now
Yeah.
in the life that we raised you in.
Yeah.
But what tips, tricks, or advice would you give to younger people that are saying, it feels like college isn't for me.
Yeah.
I want to be a true craftsman. I want to be a tradesman.
Yeah.
I want to go into the trades, welding, electrical, carpentry. What advice would you give them that you learned in your journey?
Yeah, I mean, it always helps to know how to do something before jumping into a trade. Like I remember I had welded before and I really loved it. It really helps if your school has a class that you can take for it. A lot of schools have automotive classes or what even welding classes at some schools. But find something you're passionate about, and if you don't have something you're dying to go to college for, take a year off, take 2 years off, decide what you want to do. Maybe intern with a company that does a trade, see if you like it. If you don't like it, go to college.
I love it. I wish you were around when I was a kid. I could have used that advice. That's smart thinking. I want to ask. I asked this question of all my guests,
Yeah.
and I want to ask you. So, um, we get the opportunity to do some fun things here on the show. You had some difficulties growing up when you were a kid.
Yeah.
You've got some of it figured out, and I don't know. Let's pick an age. Maybe I don't know. Maybe the 15 or 16 or 17. Right?
Okay.
What would 23-year-old Brady tell? Well, you pick, and it can be more than one. 7-year-old Brady.
Yeah.
What would 23-year-old Brady tell 7-year-old Brady?
I think I'd tell myself up to almost about a year ago the same thing. I was always scared to be different, but I was always different. I would tell myself, don't be scared, embrace who you are. I feel like that would have solved a lot of the issues that I had growing up. Just being who you are is good enough.
And it's easy to be scared to be different because society wants to everybody wants to point fingers at you,
Yeah,
and in a world of social media it's really even more difficult
it very much is.
to be genuine
Yeah,
and yourself
yeah.
and who you want to be. But that's good advice. That's good advice.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I would have learned that a little earlier, but everything happens for a reason and people learn every day. And that's just something I learned pretty recently that hit me like a baseball flew out of the sky, and I'm glad it did.
Yeah, flew out of the sky and hit you right in the face. That's
In the
happened a
nose.
couple of times, to be
Yeah,
honest
yeah.
with you.
I
um
never liked the outfield.
you personally, you've carried some heavy chapters in
Yeah.
your life. There've been times in your life where you felt like there was a black cloud hanging over
Mhm.
your head. And you've done a remarkable amount of work to process through those. How do you think those experiences that you've had when you've been in kind of your darker chapters
Mhm.
have shaped your compassion for other people?
I mean, it's very interesting because I know a lot of people are like me with bipolar, but I know a lot of people don't understand as well. And I don't expect people to understand, but I treat others how I'd want to be treated without knowing that I have bipolar. I feel like it's imperative to treat everybody how you want to be treated, just like you're taught in first grade. I don't, I try not to speak to somebody a way I wouldn't want to be spoke to. I feel like it's life's too short to be mad at people, be upset, spread hate. I feel like I try to be a light at the end of the tunnel for a lot of people. I feel like it works out sometimes, but it also puts a burden on me sometimes.
Tell me more about that. How is it how is it a burden on you?
It's hard to try to please everybody. Almost, it doesn't feel like pleasing, but it feels like I have to almost entertain sometimes, kind of juggle 18 different balls at once and try to play every part. It's hard, but if you choose the right people, it's a lot easier for sure. You don't have to like play parts in all different kinds of stuff, like whether it's honestly not the right stuff. But if you pick the right things to play a part in, it makes your life so much easier.
Yeah, we've talked about this a lot you being a kid. I was like, Brady, you're the sum total of the 5 people you hang out with the most.
Absolutely.
And it really makes a difference. And,
It
those
does.
people are going to change in your life and you're going to change around them. What do you were kind enough that early on in the story of us, I wanted to share some thoughts for other parents that
Yeah.
were affected and going through trying to support kids that they love so
Yeah.
much. And you mentioned bipolar depression.
Absolutely.
What do you what's a couple of things, or at least one thing that you wish people better understood about supporting someone whose mental health kind of ebbs and flows?
It's really hard. It's all about patience. I feel like it's patience for the person who has it, and it's definitely a lot of persistence and patience for the loved one, for the, I guess, the parent or the person who takes after the person. Um, I don't even understand sometimes. And I don't expect other people to understand, like I said. But patience, love, and compassion, you have to, I mean, it's imperative to give that. There's no other way. You can't force your way to help. You can't, it almost feels like there's no right way. But love, compassion, and being cared for, that helps more than anything.
Yeah.
Having good people to have your back.
What about other people that are listening out there that are in the same battle that you are with, diagnosis of bipolar depression?
Yeah. Um, I feel like it's really, really important to live every day in the present, not worry about the past, not worry about the future, especially not the past because you can't change it. There's nothing you can do. And the worst thing you can do is to think about it a ton and not learn from it. You have to go forward learning from your mistakes. If not, you're taking steps back. And that's what I did for a long time. I kept doing the same thing and the same thing and the same thing, expecting different results. And that's just not how it works. You have to approach it different ways and try to find out what works for you because not one thing is going to work for everybody.
Yeah, smart. That makes a lot of sense. Do you feel like it's interesting to me? I think meditation is something that has helped me a lot as I got introduced to it and kept practicing in it. And I know that when you lived here, it seemed
Yeah.
super weird. You'd walk down and there's your dad in the lotus position in the living room with
Yeah.
incense burning and a Mexican poncho on and
It was
his
definitely wild the first time seeing it.
headphones. Um, but I think you have a different kind of meditation you've already talked about. Is like, do
Yeah.
you ever think that the work that you do is kind of like meditation, something that keeps you grounded and rooted in that particular moment
Okay.
where when you're in the zone, right?
Yeah.
Like a basketball player's in the zone, they're hot, they're on fire, right?
Yeah.
And they have maybe our Wildcats have too many heat checks.
Yeah.
Seems like, or they don't get hot at all this season. But do you feel like when you're under the hood or and you got the oil and the grime or you're in the middle of a project, that's when you're in the present moment? Like you're focused and you're not thinking about anything else and it keeps you in that moment.
Yeah. I think a lot of people struggle with being on their phones because they're not busy. I feel like when I am busy, I don't even think about my phone. I feel like it drowns out the noise when I have something to do and I'm really passionate about it and I'm wanting to get it done to my full capability. And it's very investing. It's like you're trying to root down a issue in a wiring harness, and you have to test all the plugs or see if the wiring is bad, or test all the sensors. Like it's very time consuming, and it's very it's not labor intensive, but it's mind intensive. Like you have to think super hard, and that really is peaceful to me. Working my brain because it does drown out everything, and it makes me just feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and that I'm very happy doing it.
When you have a sense of pride at the end too to
Absolutely.
see what you accomplished,
Yeah.
what you built, what you fixed,
Yeah.
it's very tangible, right? I
Oh,
mean, you can
yeah.
say at the end of the day, you can say, I struggle with that in the job that I have. I will come home at the end of the day. I'm like, what did I do today?
Yeah.
I talked a lot. And then I got home and I got on a podcast and I talked even more.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of meetings and I had a lot of Zoom calls and I had a lot of Teams meetings and like, what did I accomplish? But for you, you can come home at the end of the
Yeah, and
day
be
and
like, "I
say,
did this,
yeah,
this,
oh,
this,
I
and
rebuilt
this."
that engine on
Yeah.
a big giant Caterpillar, whatever. I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
what it is you do all day on those big heavy equipment, but I'm impressed.
Well, it's not very hard. Once you know what you're doing, a lot of it plays into the same stuff.
Well, I forgot to mention this, and I would say that advice of a parent for a kid that's going into the trades,
Yeah.
I would say teach them respect for safety equipment.
Yes, absolutely. I had to learn that the very hard
If
way.
your worksite injuries were Boy Scout badges,
Mhm.
how many would you have stitched on your
I
shirt right
think
now?
I'd be a star quarterback with a Letterman jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it would be riddled.
You've had them all.
Yeah. It's been
Um,
bad.
maybe it's not the best thing to weld in flip flops and shorts and no shirt.
That one actually wasn't that bad. The one where I got third-degree burns on my hand, that was pretty bad.
That was where you drop the
The
stick,
slag
the
down the
slag
yeah,
down in your
burnt
glove.
the glove to my hand, and couldn't take it off.
Yeah,
That was rough.
yeah. Let's not
I
do
cut
that.
my knuckle through with a cutting wheel. That was bad too. I mean, I got cut, hurt, burned every day welding almost.
Not
Just
so
kind of got
many
used to
diesel
it.
being a
Oh
diesel
no,
mechanic,
none so
right?
far.
Yeah. Brady, I appreciate this. We're past the 1 hour mark, and our cats are playing Indiana
Oh
tonight,
no.
and we'll
Oh
make sure
yeah,
that we can do that.
absolutely.
I've really enjoyed this. The other one question I ask all
Yeah,
my guests, and I'm really interested to hear this
yeah,
from you, and I want you to take a hot second to think about it. But the one reason I started this podcast was that I want at some point I would have loved to have heard my grandfather or my father
absolutely.
tell stories and
Yeah,
talk when they weren't around anymore.
yeah.
My dad's still with us, but to hear my grandfather
That'd be great. Yeah,
on a podcast would have been really really cool.
yeah,
But what's cool about it is that this episode, what we just recorded here, this is a moment in time of you 23 years old,
yeah.
right?
It's pretty
Thinking the
crazy.
thoughts that you have now. Your story, the story of us from your perspective, is really kind of not even really maybe starting chapter one. There's
Correct.
a
Yeah,
long way to
there is
go.
a very long way.
So, since this episode's becoming part of the record of time, you're going to listen to this hopefully 20 years from now.
That'd be great. That'd be
Let's
cool.
say 28 years from now, when you're my age, you're an
Okay.
old, shitty 50-year-old
Okay.
trying to figure out what they're going to do with
Yeah.
their life. What do you want to tell that version of Brady? What does 23-year-old Brady want to tell 50-year-old Brady?
Keep moving forward and don't give up. Learn every day. There's never a lack of something to learn. Keep motivation and pride in what you do and be a great husband and an even better father.
Sound advice. So, 50-year-old Brady, I want to tell you it's okay to smile a lot, and you can keep moving forward, but don't forget about being in the present moment.
Correct.
There's a lot of fun in the present
Presence
moment.
very important.
Yeah. Well, Brady, thank you, bud. I
You're
appreciate it. It was
welcome.
really fun getting to interview you, and I want you to do this again.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It'd be
I'd love
really,
that.
it would be really fun. There's probably things that you wanted to talk about today that I talked too much and wasn't able to get in, but we'll have another episode, maybe a little closer to the wedding,
That sounds
so
great.
we can talk
Yeah.
about where your head's at, getting ready to make a lifelong commitment to a female. And I told you in my uh,
Yeah. Women
10
are
years
scary.
before PS, women are scary. Stay
Yeah,
away from them. But I think you got a good keeper there.
I do.
Brady, thanks for this time together. It was really fun. Um, I end all the episodes with peace be with you
Peace be with you. Thank you.
and with your spirit.